Marriage had always been a sanctuary for me, a safe harbor in a world full of uncertainties. Emily and I had been together for 7 years, building a life rooted in love, trust, and shared dreams. She was my best friend, my partner, my everything. But in a single moment, that sense of security shattered like fragile glass. It started with a message. That night, Emily had just stepped into the shower, steam curling from beneath the bathroom door. Her phone lay on the nightstand, screen glowing with a notification. I wouldn't have given it a second glance, but something about it caught my eye, an unsaved number, a cryptic text. "Can't wait to see you tonight. Maybe you can wear." The rest of the message was cut off, but it didn't matter. The implication was clear. My stomach tightened, a sick feeling spreading through my chest. For a moment, I told myself it had to be a mistake. Maybe it was from a friend, a joke, or something completely innocent. But my instincts whispered otherwise. I reached for the phone, hesitated. I wasn't the kind of man who invaded privacy. Our relationship had never required it. Emily and I had always trusted each other completely, or at least, I thought we had. But that message planted a seed of doubt, and once it took root, I couldn't ignore it. My hands were trembling as I set the phone back down. The shower turned off, the sound of rushing water replaced by soft humming. A few moments later, Emily stepped into the bedroom, wrapped in a towel, her damp hair falling in loose waves around her shoulders. "Hey babe," she said, flashing me that easy, familiar smile. "Everything okay?" I forced a nod, pushing the doubt to the back of my mind. "Yeah. Just tired." She leaned down, pressing a kiss to my cheek, the scent of lavender soap clinging to her skin. For the first time in years, I flinched under her touch. Something was wrong, and I needed to find out what. The next morning, I woke up before Emily, staring at the ceiling, mind racing. The message wouldn't leave my thoughts, replaying over and over like a taunt. I considered confronting her, demanding an explanation, but what if I was wrong? I needed more. Emily's routine never changed. She woke up at 7, sipped her coffee while scrolling through her phone, then left for work at 8:30 sharp. That day, I paid close attention to every detail, the way she lingered on her messages a little longer, the way her lips curved into a private smile when she thought I wasn't looking. She was hiding something. I felt it in my bones. After she left, I sat in silence, staring at my reflection in the dark screen of the television. Was I overreacting? Was I letting paranoia get the best of me? A part of me wanted to ignore it, to pretend that everything was fine. But another part, the one that couldn't unsee that message, refused to let it go. So, I did something I never imagined myself doing. I picked up her phone. She hadn't set a password, another reason I had always trusted her. My heart pounded as I opened her messages, scrolling down until I found the one from the unknown number. Unknown. "Last night was incredible. I can't stop thinking about you. Emily." "Me too. I miss you already." My breath caught in my throat. My hands clenched around the device. There was no denying it now. This wasn't a misunderstanding. My wife was having an affair. The sick feeling in my stomach grew heavier. Every memory, every shared moment felt tainted. I wanted to scream. I wanted to throw the phone against the wall. But I did neither. Instead, I sat there, staring at the words that had just destroyed my world. That night, I watched her more closely than ever before. Emily came home at the usual time, setting her bag down, kicking off her shoes. She greeted me with a kiss, but I barely felt it. "How was your day?" she asked, heading toward the kitchen. "Same as always," I replied, voice tight. She poured herself a glass of wine, moving around the kitchen with practiced ease. Watching her now, knowing what I knew, made my skin crawl. How long had she been lying to me? How many nights had she come home, kissed me, and slept beside me after being with someone else? I wanted to confront her, to throw her phone in front of her and demand answers. But something held me back. I needed more than just words on a screen. I needed undeniable proof. So, when she mentioned she'd be meeting her friend Lily for dinner the next evening, I simply nodded, forcing a smile. I hope you have a great time. But in reality, I had no intention of staying home. I was going to follow her. The next evening, Emily got ready with meticulous care. She curled her hair into soft waves, applied makeup with precision, and slipped into a sleek black dress that hugged her figure perfectly. She looked stunning, ironic, considering she wasn't dressing up for me. I sat on the bed, watching her reflection in the mirror. "You look beautiful," I said, voice steady despite the storm inside me. She smiled, adjusting her necklace. "Thanks, babe." Her phone buzzed on the dresser. She picked it up quickly, fingers gliding over the screen as she typed a reply. A warmth spread through her expression, one that wasn't for me. "Lily's already at the restaurant," she said, slipping on her heels. "I shouldn't be too late." I forced a nod. "Have fun." She kissed me, lingering just long enough to keep up the illusion. Then, she grabbed her purse and left. As soon as I heard the front door close, I jumped up, grabbed my car keys, and followed. Emily didn't drive toward the restaurant where Lily worked. Instead, she headed downtown, weaving through traffic with the ease of someone who had made this trip many times before. My heart pounded as I trailed her at a safe distance. 10 minutes later, she pulled into a dimly lit hotel parking lot. I parked a few spots away, hands gripping the steering wheel so tightly my knuckles turned white. I watched as she sat in her car, checking her phone. Then, a man approached. Tall, dark-haired, confident. He walked straight to her, opened her car door like a gentleman, and leaned down to kiss her. My stomach churned. Seeing those words on her phone had been painful, but watching her melt into another man's arms, watching her kiss him with the same passion she once reserved for me, felt like a knife twisting in my gut. I clenched my jaw, forcing myself to stay still. Bursting out of the car and confronting them now would accomplish nothing. I needed more. Proof. Something undeniable. I grabbed my phone and started taking pictures. She laughed as they walked into the hotel together, her arm wrapped around his. The woman I loved, the woman I thought I knew, was in a stranger's arms. And I had the proof I needed. That night, I barely slept. My mind raced with every possible scenario. Would I confront her immediately? Wait for her to confess? Would she lie to my face? Emily came home late, her lipstick slightly smudged, her perfume stronger than usual. She walked in, kicking off her heels with a sigh. "Hey, you're still up?" she asked, setting her purse on the counter. I nodded, studying her. "Yeah. Couldn't sleep." She ran a hand through her hair, feigning exhaustion. "Dinner was great. Lily says hi." I almost laughed. How effortlessly the lies slipped from her lips. Instead, I said, "That's nice." She smiled, leaning in to kiss me. I turned away. Her brows furrowed. "Something wrong?" I forced a yawn. "Just tired." She shrugged, then headed toward the bedroom, completely unaware that I knew everything. The next day, I did something I never imagined. I hired a private investigator. His name was Mark, a seasoned professional with a sharp eye for deception. I met him in a quiet cafe, sliding the photos across the table. "She's cheating," I said flatly. Mark glanced at the images, nodding. "I've seen this 100 times. You want more proof?" I exhaled. "Yes. I need to know everything. Give me a week. 7 days of pretending. 7 days of looking into my wife's eyes, knowing she was lying. 7 days of enduring her fake kisses, her empty I love yous. Every time she left the house, I waited for Mark's updates, and when they came, they confirmed everything. Emily had been seeing the same man for months. Dinners, hotels, secret weekend getaways, lies upon lies. When Mark handed me the final report, I stared at the evidence, the receipts, the hotel bookings, the text. My fingers curled into fists. This wasn't just a mistake. This was deliberate betrayal. And now I had everything I needed to make her regret it. The weight of Emily's betrayal settled deep inside me, no longer a sharp blade but a cold, numbing certainty. I had everything I needed: the photos, the texts, the receipt. My wife had built an entire secret life with another man, thinking I would never find out. But she had underestimated me. I wasn't the type to explode in blind rage. No, I wanted something deeper, something that would destroy the illusion she had so carefully crafted. She had played me for a fool, and now it was my turn. That evening, Emily walked through the door like nothing had changed. She hummed a tune under her breath, set her purse down, and smiled at me as if she weren't stabbing me in the back. "Hey, babe," she said, stepping closer to kiss me. This time, I let her. I let her press her lips to mine, tasting the deceit, the lies she thought were still hidden. "How was work?" she asked, slipping out of her heels. I forced a smile. "Long day." "You?" She stretched, feigning exhaustion. "Same. Just had lunch with Lily again." Lily. Her ever-reliable alibi. I nodded, hiding my disgust. "I should invite her over sometime. Haven't seen her in a while." Emily hesitated, just for a second. Then, she smiled. "Yeah. That'd be nice." She was good. But not that good. The next step of my plan was setting the trap. I needed to let Emily believe everything was normal, make her comfortable, unaware that her world was about to crumble. So, I did something unexpected. I planned a romantic weekend getaway. When I told her, she blinked in surprise, then lit up with excitement. "Really? Just the two of us?" "Of course," I said smoothly. "It's been a while since we had some time alone." She bit her lip, something flickering in her expression. Guilt? Hesitation? But then she nodded eagerly. "That sounds amazing." Little did she know, I had already booked 2 rooms at the hotel. One for us, and one for him. When Friday arrived, Emily packed her bags with enthusiasm. I played along, pretending to be the doting husband while knowing exactly what was about to happen. As we drove to the secluded resort, she leaned over, resting her hand on my thigh. "This is such a sweet surprise." I smiled. "Anything for you." Her phone buzzed in her lap. She glanced at it quickly, then flipped it face down. I already knew who it was. He was coming. Just like I planned. That evening, I played my role perfectly. We checked into our suite, a luxurious room overlooking the ocean. Emily was all smiles, sipping wine as we sat on the balcony. I could see the way she was trying, forcing herself to be present as if she weren't mentally elsewhere. But when she excused herself to take a quick shower, I knew exactly what she was doing. I watched her phone screen light up. A new message. Unknown. "I'm here. Room 214. Can't wait to see you." She returned a few minutes later, towel wrapped around her body, eyes warm with faux affection. "Want to grab dinner?" I asked casually. She hesitated. "Actually, I have a bit of a headache. Maybe I'll rest for a bit first." I hid my smirk. "Of course." I kissed her forehead, tucked her in, and waited. 20 minutes later, she thought I was asleep. She grabbed her purse, slipped on a fresh dress, and quietly walked out. I followed. She had no idea I was right behind her, watching as she made her way to room 214. My pulse pounded, but not with heartbreak. Not anymore. This was justice. The moment she knocked on the door, I pulled out my phone and hit record. The door opened. There he was, the man she had been sneaking around with for months. Tall, confident, unaware that his life was about to be ruined. "Missed you," he murmured, pulling her inside. That was all I needed. I walked up, knocked loudly, and when the door cracked open again, I shoved it wide open. Emily's eyes went wide, horror freezing her in place. "What the?" The man started, but I wasn't looking at him. I was looking at her. Her mouth opened, but no words came. "Go on, Emily," I said, voice eerily calm. "Tell me how you got a headache and needed to rest." Her face drained of color. I can explain." I let out a slow exhale. "No, you can't." I held up my phone, the video still recording. Her betrayal was now undeniable. And it was only the beginning. Silence filled the room like a suffocating fog. Emily stood frozen, her lips slightly parted as if she were still scrambling to fabricate a lie. The man, her lover, the stranger she had thrown away our marriage for, stared at me, tense, confused, but not guilty. No, guilt was her burden to carry now. I stepped inside, closing the door behind me. The air smelled of cheap hotel air freshener, mixed with the faint trace of Emily's perfume. That same scent had once meant home, love, us. Now it was nothing but a symbol of deception. Emily finally found her voice. "Please, let me explain." I chuckled, shaking my head. "Explain what, exactly? That you lied? That you've been sneaking off for months, telling me you were with Lily while you were?" I gestured toward the man, playing house with him. The man's brows furrowed. "Look, man, I turned to him sharply. "Shut up." He did. Emily reached out as if to touch me, but I stepped back. "It's not what you think," she whispered desperately. I tilted my head. "Not what I think? Oh, so you're not half-dressed in another man's hotel room? You didn't just kiss him at the door? Tell me, Emily, what part am I misunderstanding?" Her eyes filled with tears, but I felt nothing. No anger. No sadness. Just a cold, calculating satisfaction. "I was going to tell you," she murmured. I let out a dry laugh. "When? Before or after you were done finding yourself between his sheets?" Her lover stepped forward, arms crossed. "Look, I didn't know she was married." I arched a brow. "Oh, really? So, the ring on her finger didn't mean anything?" He faltered, glancing at Emily, who quickly tucked her left hand behind her back. "Coward." I pulled out my phone and pressed play. The recording of her stepping into his room, of their embrace, of his whispered, "Missed you," filled the space between us. Her face crumpled. You recorded me?" she gasped. I locked eyes with her. "Oh, sweetheart, this is just the beginning." Back at home, I set my plan in motion. The next morning, Emily tried to act like everything wasn't crumbling around her. She made coffee, sat across from me at the kitchen table, and opened her mouth, probably to spew some pathetic excuse. I cut her off. "I know everything, Emily. And you're about to lose everything too." Tears welled up again, but I wasn't falling for it. "It was a mistake," she whispered. "A mistake." I scoffed. "No, Emily, a mistake is forgetting an anniversary or saying something hurtful in an argument. What you did was a series of deliberate choices. Every single time you snuck out, every text you sent, every hotel room you booked. Those weren't mistakes. That was who you are." She covered her face, shoulders shaking. "I love you." I stood, towering over her. "No, you don't. You love the life I gave you. The comfort. The security. But me? You tossed me aside the moment you thought no one was watching." Her lips trembled. "What are you going to do?" I smirked. "I already did it." By the end of the day, Emily's world had collapsed. First, I sent the evidence to her family. To our mutual friends. Even to Lily, her supposed alibi. Lily, to her credit, was furious. "She used me?" she shouted over the phone. "She dragged my name through her lies?" "Oh yeah," I said. "And I thought you should know." Next, I filed for divorce. But I didn't stop there. I made sure to freeze our joint accounts before she could take a cent. The final touch? I sent the video to her lover's fiancé. Yes. The man she had been sneaking around with? He wasn't single. Karma works fast. By the time Emily realized what had hit her, she was truly alone. And me? I walked away, head high, heart free. Because she didn't just betray me. She set me free.